everyone. It is Monday. Hello, Monday. And it's time for our weekly tarot. So how is everybody? It's a big week for us, okay? So as you guys come in, and if you can join me, great, say hi. Good morning, Chris. I see Tracy here, and I see Sarah here. We do these live on Monday. I try to keep them within the 20-30 minute mark. And you can join me if you can, and if you can't, that's no big deal. You can keep it here and watch it at any point during the week. So this is a big week. Big meaning like epic. Not necessarily epic, but hi, Cynthia and Lacey. Hi, you guys. But it is a big week energetically. So we have our full moon in Libra on the 21st. On the 21st, we also have the spring equinox. So for all of my unicorn wellness community, for all of my witches out there, for all of my astro curious, in love with astrology fans and community out there, this is the truly astrological new year. Hooray. So even though we get templated in a Gregorian calendar that it's, you know, January 1st, it's not. And so this feeling of like, I should be doing something, I'm going to do something, you know, is not the case. So we've been going through winter, right? And this is the time to compost, to evaluate, reevaluate, to go, what needs to be gone? What needs to die off? What needs to be regenerative? So as we approach the full moon this week, we are coming out of the mud, right? It's springtime. And so I always talk about that winter and this transition into spring just feels muddy, right? Because out of the mud is where the lotuses come from. And that the snow has melted into the dirt and we're trying to climb and sprout our way out for the spring. So this is happening this week. Being really clear that energies aren't like light switches and they don't just flick on and off, that we're still gonna have this transition into spring, right? But this feeling of doing things is going to be easier and will start to come into play after Wednesday. And Wednesday really depends on where in the world we are. Hi, Courtney. So there's so much of this, okay? Tomorrow is Tangent Tuesday here on the YouTube channel and on Instagram if I can get all technology to work together with me. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is going to be our full moon ritual. I'm going to talk more about the moon tomorrow, and we will do single tarot card pulls tomorrow. You have to be present for them. And so that's going to happen tomorrow. But it is exciting because it's not just a full moon, it's the spring equinox. And this begins Aries season. And Aries is the go-getter, it's the athlete, it's naive, but it's the starter. And it's firepower and the warrior. So the spring equinox is just always fun and full of life. And this feeling of like, oh, I'm processing and I'm healing, and the Pisces energy of drowning and just crying and all the feels and just wanting to hide in bed and to really, you know, just kind of not pay attention to things. It's coming to an end, okay? So know that this week is really fun and vibrant and a really major transition. Hi, Katie. So what else on my notes? We'll do more about the full moon tomorrow because tomorrow's our full moon ritual for Tangent Tuesday. I'm considering if I can figure this out in my schedule on Wednesday. I'll do it live, but again, the YouTube channel, I do it live because that way I can connect with you all if you want to. And if not, it's here for you to watch anytime that you can. On Wednesday, what I'd like to do is to do the spring equinox layout spread for you all, an additional bonus reading this month. So the equinox readings, these, of course, we can only do these 4 times a year, and they are predictive, right? This gives us the energy of what's coming and what to anticipate as a community. This is my filming week for content on the site on unicornwellness.studio. So it's a big week, and I don't want to overpromise, but it's written in my calendar. I may try to sneak that in for you guys. Okay, so just keep checking back on the channel. If you haven't already, yay, Erica! If you all haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do so. Remember to like the videos, and if this work speaks to you and makes a difference in your life and you love it, please share it. Just a simple copy paste on, you know, one of your social media platforms. Don't even have to say anything about it. Is really helpful. And please. Okay, to spread the word and share the love of the unicorn magic. All right, so here we go. I'm still using the Nicoletta Ciccoli deck. It's still Pisces season right now. And this week we got stuff flying out already. Okay, I've already been doing readings this morning, and yeah. So here we go. So the weekly tarot. So this is the week of, I'm looking at the notes so I don't say the wrong thing, March 18th through the 24th. Again, this is our full moon week. This is the spring equinox. This is a transition big time for us. And so here we go. It's kind of what we've been waiting for, honestly, since January. Man, these cards are interesting. Okay. So 5-card layout, I'll talk you through them one at a time, as we always do. These are to either stand alone if you're newly discovered to Unicorn Wellness, or to integrate into the monthly, full, and new moon tarot readings that you get as a member of unicornwellness.studio in connection to your workouts, the 30-minute workouts on the site, only available to members that are written in accordance to the current astrology, so that we're working in the physical body to connect and to alchemize with the energetics at play. Okay. Hi, Erin. Everybody's here. Maybe Monday at 11 is a better time. I should perhaps take note of that. Okay. And then we have 2 additional cards in our reading. We have the spirit in which to move through things. And then we have the goddess oracle deck today. Okay. So I'll read it straightforward, and then we have the booklet that gives us more information about this card. I love all of these this week. Okay, here we go. All right. So the weekly tarot. The energy of right now, and what we're really going to be working with this week in particular. So this is kind of the theme of this week, which totally goes in line with everything that's been leading up to this in our past weekly readings. This is the 6 of Swords. And I love this card because my nail polish matches it. Okay. So hi, Paula. Oh, sweet. Okay, well, maybe we'll do a little shift. Hi, Charlotte. I mean, really, you guys are here today, so maybe we shift Monday to 11 a.m. I shifted it today because I had a client before this. So anyway, the theme of the week, right? So this is the overall, what we're dealing with this week is the 6 of Swords. 6 of Swords is totally about the universe ushering us off of islands that no longer serve our highest and greatest good. Okay. This deck has got this really beautiful, interpretation of it. So it's in all this water. I mean, swords are our intellect, our acumen, our thought process, our words. In readings with me, if you all are new to Unicorn Wellness, they tend to really pinpoint our subconscious programming. And so this is showing us that we are moving out of this immature way of emotionally navigating things through our subconscious programming. So this is often wounds of the childhood that are healing, and that the universe is going, we see you doing the work, you're doing the work. You're looking at these hard questions. You're looking at the mother wound. You're looking at the father wound, and you're making progress, and we're going to assist you. And so this is the universe ushering you off of islands that no longer serve your highest and greatest good. This, I'm hearing that it's very much about our subconscious programming, because I always say that the subconscious is, the pigeon driving the bus. Like, as much as we can think positively, function positively in a positive mindset, if our true frequency and our subconscious programming is not at this positive mindset, we cannot manifest. And then it's not completely true. Healing has to happen on all levels, right? Emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual, energetic, in order for it to happen. And we may have healed some of these places, but not all of them. And it's really about getting them all done to really make transitions. Okay. So our belief systems are at the heart of this week. What do we really believe to be true? So again, manifestation works, whether we're working with it or not. So we can be co-creators in this lifetime to point our finger at what we want to bring to fruition. And we can believe that manifestation works. But if our subconscious programming and fear still says, but not for me, but it's never worked before, I don't really believe in that, hard science 3D is the only thing that exists, then manifestations don't happen. Okay. So the negative and the internal thought process of your soul is what's really driving the bus and what's really supporting manifestation in your life. So if you're still anchored in fear and doubt and 3D, if I can't touch it, smell it, taste it, and if there's not hard data and percentages to go with it, then I can't, then it can't, then it doesn't. So this week is calling us to make transitions out of immature thought processes and immature emotional processes. But this is showing that it's really happening. This is love from our guides and guardian angels. Know that this can show up as some relationships that come to an end. Sometimes this can be jobs or projects that come to an end where you just, it stops because you're no longer resonating at that lower frequency. So there's a bit about endings here, right? Winter is ending. The astrological new year is beginning. We have to leave some things behind. We cannot drag all of our baggage into this next cycle. I mean, we can, we're allowed to, but you're being called not to. You're being called to really heal and drop baggage. So again, these readings, although weekly and standalone, we've been talking about these topics for the last 3 or 4 weeks, however long we've been doing these now, and we'll continue. They build one onto the next. So we've been doing a lot of additional videos on the spectrum of healing, on how to work with anger and how to work with guilt and heal from guilt. These are all the same topics, right? They all feed one into the next. How do we become the highest expression of our souls in this lifetime? This week is saying you're getting ushered off the island of some of these low vibration, fear-based, immature thought patterns. Yes, like that's super exciting. Okay. Now, the card that flew out, I'm going to work with it right now also because this is like the first thing that came out. And so I feel like it always goes along with like, what are the major themes of this week? What are we really looking at and working with? And this is 5 of Pentacles. So Pentacles are the earth element. This is a card that I know well and has come up a lot lately. So Pentacles are the earth element, and this can be abundance, right, in all of its forms: financial, money, love, support, health, nourishment. 5 is the number of change. At its essence, the 5 of Pentacles asks us to change our mindset and our practicing patterns more towards the spiritual, to come in out of the cold and know that divine spirit always has our back, you know, has a warm meal and a change of clothes, even when it looks like there's not. 5 of Pentacles can also be this. In this deck, it's a little gruesome, but it's a bit of a bloodletting emotionally. Like the red bird of happiness is trying to get in. It's trying to uplift. It's trying to make a home in her hair, right? But you have to let out the mourning and the sadness and the hurt first. So science has progressed in the most beautiful ways, but bloodletting and leeching used to be believed of like this was a way to really cleanse the system and clear it out of things. So this is a transition of old thought patterns, moving past them, the ways in which we think we heal versus the ways in which we actually heal. But mourning and grieving is always a part of the process. And sometimes you got to let it out and really acknowledge the hurt. And so this is a week of doing that. I mean, look at these two, because this little card, it's so positive, but it's also a little, you know, melancholy. It's like, it's kind of a creepy bunny, you know, but these are, again, and in a coffin, like the ways of navigating that you learned when you were in childhood, these are just antiquated and they're paradigms that need to be left behind. We're growing emotionally and spiritually, and the guides and guardian angels are like, I'm going to protect you, but you've got to leave behind these false paradigms and really deprecating ways of functioning and believing that the world works, because it doesn't. Your perspective is how the world works. So if you want things to be better, you want manifestation and abundance and joy and healing, you got to get your thought processes there. Okay. Hi, Joy. So this is a big transition. This is a big thing for this week. This is really about letting go of these false paradigms and old paradigms of like things being always negative and always turning out worst case scenario. Okay. So then next steps, right? So next steps this week on how things are going to transition for the highest and greatest good. I mean, we're coming out of healing, right? Emotional, immature, false paradigms that we are finally leaving behind at our subconscious level into the next steps for this week. This is the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, I don't know about you, but I love me some Wheel of Fortune. So 10 is fresh starts and new beginnings, which heralds to spring equinox, right? Anytime that the Wheel of Fortune shows up in your reading, this is good luck coming. Okay, this is a transition of luck. This is cycles. So 9 are cycles and karmic closures. 10 is fresh starts and new beginnings. So this is always a turn of the wheel in our favor, no matter how it turns up in a reading. So there is a shift of the wheel. And I really hear this to be the spring equinox. Like this is the shift and the upswing and like kind of like the sweet wind sweeping through that like you can smell change on the horizon. It may not happen instantaneously, but this year, 2019, and all of its blessings and magic is really about faith in the future. Can you trust? Can you surrender? Can you be okay with it not happening right now? Okay. So the next steps this week, I really hear it to be the equinox, that it's just a shift. It's the shift we've been waiting for. It's on track. Here we go. Big steps for the highest and greatest good. So how things are really going to shift. And also these weekly readings, I do kind of see them as like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday sort of thing. So this is like a midweek card right here. This is the Queen of Wands. And so there's been a lot of queen energy lately, right? The return of the divine feminine, goddess energy. Wands is about bravery and courageousness. This is about your firepower. Firepower is your capacity for magic. Usually like, you know, Queen of Wands and Queen of Swords, they badass bitches. Like they are the women you want on your side. They are the CEOs and they are the ones that do not take no for an answer and they stand in their empowerment and go, no, you can name call all you want. You can disagree all you want, but you don't get to diminish me and you don't get to make me feel smaller. So the Queen of Wands is a very cake and eat it too. Okay. Like, no, I've been smart enough and I've been doing the work and I've put the effort in and I have continued with the efforts. And I do get to have the most beautiful schedule and abundance and love. And no, I don't have to give anything up. Knowing that in life, perfect balance and perfection is not possible, but there is a moment and there are moments of perfection, right? And this idea of constantly having to, why can't you have it all? That's what I hear. Why not? If you're doing the work and you are doing it out of love and there's practice and there's intellect and there's support, why not have it all? Okay. So maybe this week is just calling on you is like, where is the false paradigms of I can't do this. This is just the way this is going and I have no control and I have no choice in this and I have to give this up in order for this to happen. Yes, we want to be realistic and we want to go, not everything can always happen at the same time, but that there's a moment of sweetness here this week where we can kind of sit and feel like I have my health, I have a roof over my head, I have beautiful food, I have people who love and care for me and who check in on me, and I get to give my gifts in the world. Like there is a moment at the very least, it's kind of like I feel it is this moment of suspension of, oh no, there is at least a moment of having it all. And then life continues. But this is midweek. And again, midweek is this full moon and the spring equinox. So again, the sweetness of transition this week is capable. And maybe I also hear that Queen of Wands, that you need to be honest about what you want. If you feel like it's a diva kind of ask, right? And then you have to stop and go, well, that's somebody else's judgment. My ask is because I think it's possible and because that's what I want. It's because my heart wants that. So don't be afraid to aim really big. Yes, there's a yes to that. So this week, midweek, remember the full moon is a time of release, right? What no longer serves our highest and greatest good? What do you need to release in order to get to your big goal? And what's that giant goal? Are you not aiming big enough? Are you not speaking big enough? Do you think somebody else is going to judge your big ask because they're going to be like, she's a diva. Who does she think she is? I think you're a child of God and a divine spirit of the universe. So you get to ask for whatever you want, as long as it's in true heart, a connection to the ethers. There's effort and surrender to it, right? Like you do get to ask big. Okay. Okay. Assets to this week. The Magician. I love the Magician. So the Magician is the second card of the major arcana, 0, the Fool, is the first one. But this is assets to this week, okay? So the Magician says, I understand how to bring things into manifestation in this world. That there is a balance of all 4 of the elements, of the suits, of wands, of pentacles, of cups, of, what am I missing? Swords. Okay, so that my thoughts, my willpower, my emotions, and functional, abundance and love, they all have to be in play and in focus and in balance in order for me to bring things into manifestation in this realm. So this is a little bit of a graduation card of like, you know how to manifest? You know what it takes? Yes, it takes a sprinkle of little unicorn dust. That the timing we can never be quite sure of, because divine timing is divine timing, not our timing. But I do hear that some of our times are getting closer, right? That there's been some long waits for things, but they're getting closer and closer and closer, that you really get how to bring things into manifestation. So that's, part of the battle, right? Showing up, like, oh, I didn't realize that like swords are not just what I'm saying or what I'm doing. It has to be how I resonate at the subconscious level. So now you're bringing it's like, get this feeling of like bringing everything online. Like you've been working in these pockets of things, but in this week, it's going to make sense of the physical and the divine, right? What are the physical pedantic tactics that we practice every day? Again, getting on the mat, fueling, hydration, self-care, meditation. And in the tarot, you understand that all 4 of these things have to be in play in order for manifestation to occur. It can't just be a vision board. It can't just be a wish. It can't just be one thing you wrote down on a piece of paper and you went and burn it up, right? It has to be this balance of humanity and divinity. It is a lifestyle to understand how to start to manifest these bigger pieces, okay? So that's the asset for the week, which is fantastic. Basically, y'all know you magic, so good, okay? And then the outcome of this week. This is really fun because this is the Knave of Swords. So we start with swords, right? Of really being ushered out of old, emotional subconscious patterns, immature subconscious patterns. And we end the week in flight. Okay, and so the Page of Swords, she's learning how to wield her words, but really we're learning how to work with this new subconscious setting. Instead of it being negative and fear-based, it's in hope and potential. And I know it's particularly a crane that she's riding, but because it's a little origami bird, I always feel it as a crane. It's if you fold 1,000 paper cranes that your wish will come true. So she's practicing 1,000 paper cranes, right? Learning to wield her subconscious programming and her personal magic, your personal magic, for the manifestation and the outcome to come. We're learning to fly by surrender, by our subconscious, by our practices, and by our healing, actually. Yeah. So, but it is kind of funny. It's like she's flying on a paper crane. It seems completely made up and not possible, but it's the imagination, right? And if you can't imagine something, I can never imagine that happening. We've already blocked it from happening in the universe. If you can imagine these things, this is really one of the most powerful tools of manifestation, sitting in the actual feeling of it happening. What does it feel like to step into your, your fantasy job and role? What does it feel like to buy a home? What does it feel like to not be in fear of certain diseases or chronic issues just flaring up over and over? You have to imagine that things are possible before they could even take root in this physical plane. So I think it's really important this week, and this is the outcome, of imagining what your biggest wishes actually feel like, right? And that we're learning how to wield it from like, I wish this would happen, and it's happening. Like there is a moment of cake and eat it too gratitude this week, right? Of going, no, all of these magical things I've been doing, they're actually coming to fruition. And I see how they're taking root in my life. And they may not be exactly how I thought, right? But I notice them. and I notice their presence, and I notice the power of the practices, okay? So the outcome is beautiful and whimsical, yet tangible, okay? And then we have the spirit in which to move through this week. I'm looking at the comments. Yes, and you know, the groundhog did not see its shadow, so it really is, springtime is coming. And so this is the first day of spring, is the spring equinox. There is a shift. I mean, in New York, for sure, our winter was fairly light, which I'm grateful for. And it's been real clear that spring is coming, you know? So there is this lightness and this sunniness to what's happening right now. The spirit in which to move through this week. I love this card because it's curious, right? Really make a commitment to moving through this week in particular, but I encourage you to do it in your lives with curiosity rather than judgment. I'm a fan of judgment, by the way. It's critical discernment, okay? But when we allow our judgment to really eclipse imagination, we are not living in a spiritually balanced space. Okay, so if you can approach things with curiosity rather than judgment, this is the way in which to move through this week. Because judgment keeps us in fear. Judgment tells us things are not possible. Judgment anchors too heavily in analytical discernment, although it's important. We want to be using a blend of intellect, intuition, and love, and that one is no more greater than the other, except I would go to say reason that intuition and love is greater. Okay, so that work through this week out of curiosity. Be curious about the outcomes. Be curious about what's ending. Be curious about what's coming. Be curious about your imagination. Maybe you haven't made enough, you know, of a friendship with your imagination. What do you really want? The crazy thing is when you ask that question, most people don't know. I got a list. Okay, so be curious about what your soul wants. Be curious about how things are going to shake out rather than being in judgment and knowing how it's going to happen and having criticism about why something was said or how it ended or how it's going. You know, there is no right and wrong. There's what's right for you in this moment. What's right for you may not be right for the other person. And what's right for you can be very different than what's right for the other person at that time, and they can exist in the same space. So I'm hearing, although personally and from a spiritual perspective, I think critical discernment, judgment is really important. However, this week we're being called on to be curious of like, there's a lot of unknown still in this transition, and we just have to go, I have faith that it's going to turn out in the right way. I'm curious to see how it shakes out, but I don't know how that's going to work right now. Our goddess for the week. Okay, so here's our final card. Hi, Brandon. This is Aphrodite. So I always pull an oracle card, 2 oracle cards, spirit in which to move through, because I think it's really practical, right? When you get lost in the week, when you feel a little overwhelmed or stuck or dead-ended, or you're just like, how this, you know, navigating the unknown, we're being asked to be curious this week. The other oracle deck, sometimes it's an archangel, mostly it's been a goddess. This is the goddess to call upon this week for protection, to anchor into the attributes of. I think that I find the goddess cards to be kind of like the costume and perhaps the cape or the shield we should be wearing this week also, but ask for their presence in your life this week. Ask for their guidance and their protection. This is Aphrodite. So this is the inner goddess. Awaken the goddess within you through dance, self-care, and appreciating your divinity. I mean, she's beautiful. So I'm going to read from the booklet also because it gives us much more. But, you know, Aphrodite is the goddess of love. This is sensual pleasures, you know, and being in your body and being embodied. So dance is a beautiful way to do it, but getting on the mat is a fabulous way to do it also. So make sure that you're on the mat this week, especially in this transition of winter into spring. It always feels mucky. It's always like needs some extra cleansing and like wringing out of the spine and getting that energetic clean sweep through things. Okay, message from Aphrodite. Allow your inner feminine wisdom and dynamic beauty to rise to the surface. Cherish its power and meaningfulness. No matter whether your physical body is male or female, you have an inner femininity that nurtures you and guides you with its intuitive principles. Now is the time to become aware of, take excellent care of, and celebrate your magnificence. Various meanings of this card. Balance your male energy with more female energy. Take steps to heal your sexuality. Enjoy being feminine. Dance more often. Be receptive. In relationships, allow your softer side to come forward, and don't hide your femininity. Dress in a more feminine way, for example. About Aphrodite. Aphrodite is the Greek goddess of passion and love who's associated with the planet Venus. Aphrodite's name means foam born, as legend says that she sprang from her father Uranus's castrated genitals, which were cast into the ocean. Thus, Aphrodite represents unabashed female sexual energy. Aphrodite helps women feel comfortable with their bodies and sexuality. She helps both genders to experience more passion in their relationships and to become more balanced as far as individual male-female energy is concerned. That's a good card. It's interesting because Aries, as we move into Aries season, Aries is, very masculine energy, and it's firepower, and it's the warrior and the, fiery starter. So there's also, and governed by Mars. So there's this very balanced yet sexual energy at play here. We head into Easter real fast. So this is fertility at its best, right? So just give some extra thought this week to the work that you've been doing. The rise of the divine feminine in all of us. This is about faith and surrender and receiving. This is meditation and intuition. There is a softness. This is listening, okay? But we're entering into Aries season, which is masculine. And the next 8 years, because Chiron has moved into Aries, we are going to be dealing with our toxic masculinity. And if you think we've already been dealing with it, I don't think this is getting bigger or louder or worse. This is a time of really going, how do I work with my firepower, with my anger, with this surly energy? And it's important. Fire inspires us to do things. It points to where the passion is. It ignites and it starts things. But this is a time of moving into masculine energy, but working with it differently. Rather than seeing willpower and firepower as something that pushes other people out of the way, let it be work to inspire and to create new things. So there is definitely a call as we heal our collective toxic masculinity and reclaim all of our, regardless of gender or identification, divine feminine, of focusing on creating more beautiful things in the world rather than fighting and battling the things we don't like. We can take a stand, we can protect things, but the way in which we do it has to be calmer, needs to have firepower. It's important, balance is important, but equal surrender and faith and listening and this steady quiet to it. Okay, so just know that as we move out of winter into the spring, Chiron's moved out of Pisces, female, into Aries, masculine, that this is the time to start and ignite and to go. Aries is also the athlete. So there's going to be this physicality that needs to happen. You all really need to be on the mat in the spring and in this transition at unicornwellness.studio, because this harnesses this energy, it focuses it, it gets things grounded in the physical nature in order to manifest and to fully come to balance and fruition. So we're being encouraged to really embrace the feminine aspect of things. I think it's more of a reminder to hang on to the balance as we enter into Aries season, which is classically very masculine, where we can get a little too excited and a little too I'm going to change all of these things. And our experience of toxic masculinity is to push everything else out of the way, break it, and prove somebody wrong. I think this is just a call to go, remember what you've learned in the last year and anchor into the softness as much as this drive for fresh new things. Okay. It's almost like it's time to put things into practice, y'all, as to what does balance look like in order to engage and ignite and to start fresh with drive. I got a lot of fire in my chart. I'm all for the drive. But when you drive and push too hard, that can set things on fire, burst them into flames. So we're just getting a major call out to like, oh yes, no, listening and intuition and groundedness is really important, because I feel that the energy of this Aries season and the shift of Chiron into Aries is going to give us like this, and we're going to like want to go running off, and we need to go, hold up. Perhaps we create a sprinting schedule, you know, like we go real hard and real fast, and then we surrender and we recuperate. And then we go real hard and real fast and we surrender and recuperate. What does balance look like now to us? Okay. All right. That is your reading for the week. I'm going to check in with the comments. And if you all have questions or comments, ask them now. Type as fast as you can. And if you're watching this after the fact, not during the live, then add your comments below because I'll answer everything. Yeah, so Joy, you feel the shift. Good smiley face from Paula. Yeah, Sarah, it just... Oh, Brandon, you're so welcome. Just know that like we are entering Aries season. Masculine energy in all of its fieriness serves a purpose, and it's important. We just have to hang on to the balance of it. Okay. This isn't about creating another imbalance in femininity. It's about really empowered balance of both. So firepower starts things, it protects things, it engages, it ignites. It's just, we want to not fall into old patterns of battling, of pushing, of forcing, and of destroying. You can build new things and focus on more beautiful aspects without destroying. I mean, you know, things need to come to an end, but they can come to soft endings. You can take them apart piece by piece instead of bashing them in with a, you know, wrecking ball. So there's just this like Aries energy is like, it's fierce, okay? So we want to use it for good, but understand it's not it's not soft. Like Aries energy is not soft. We're just looking for balance here, okay? Check in the comments. Oh, good, Courtney. Yeah, this is such a time of endings. And I always share my personal story of things of, I ordered new business cards last week. They're due to get here on the equinox. And it's kind of like you all who know me and are with me weekly and daily and monthly over at unicornwellness.studio. This isn't a big transition, but it is a transition of naming and of titles for me. And when I ordered them, I thought, of course they're coming on the full moon. This is about release. This is about really releasing the accolades and the attachments to my career prior to now, and really looking forward with a fresh perspective and a new focus on things. Still the same person, but evolution, right? So there are endings happening for sure. But in this reading, it's really about, you know, immature emotional patterns in our deep subconscious that keep us stuck. And so it's a beautiful time of moving forward. It's really gorgeous. It's a gorgeous reading. And the reading's so gorgeous because you all are showing up, you're doing the work, you're believing, and then you're putting in the daily practices, which this is your reading, right? And the messages that come through for us as a collective of Unicorn Wellness, they get stronger and louder and clearer the longer we're together. And every time we gather, this is why I like to do these live, your energy influences this, right? I can always tap into it, but when you're present and here, it's much more magical. So I appreciate you all being present and here. If you want to book your own one-on-one reading, I'll have the links below, and they're here on this page, tandygutierrez.com to book a private reading with me. If you are interested in membership and the workouts day to day, the monthly, the new, and the full moon tarot reading that are only available to my members, unicornwellness.studio, and you can do a 30-day guest membership there to see, like, what is this actually like to work out with the astrological energies at play and the tarot readings as a community. There's also a monthly guided meditation there, but we also have the guided meditation here on this channel. One of the favorites of the members. And then I also have a full stretch video here too. So you can start to get a sense of like, how do I teach? What does that really look like and feel like? Okay? So I love you all. I know this week is like awesome. And I'm so grateful that you joined me today. Tomorrow is Tangent Tuesday. So if you can join me at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, full moon ritual, meaning that we'll talk about this full moon a little bit more in depth. We'll do the single card tarot readings together as a collective, and we'll just check in about the workouts that you're going to see in this transition time of this spring equinox and of this full moon. We'll talk about the full moon. Okay? All right. I love you guys. You're the best. You're seriously the best. Okay, so make sure that when you click the like button, if you want to click the bell on the page, it will alert you when I go live because it is a fluid schedule of when I do lives. That way, if you can join me, you can. And if not, I'm not going to flood your inbox with these in email. I'm just going to hop on and whatever happens, happens. Okay, leave it up to the divine cosmos who can join me or who needs to hear it in the moment. All right, what else? Oh, yeah, so it's cool. And again, I just try to be as present for you all as often as I can. It really is in my schedule. And knowing, and again, this transition to YouTube so that you can watch it anytime it works in your schedule. So I love you all very, very, very much. I will see you tomorrow. I'm going to log off and go shoot some workouts for you guys. Okay? Bye.